Okay, this is the new project, 30s Model A 5-window coupe. Just bought this in Herkimer, New York. Gentleman was building it a long time and never finished it, unfortunately. So bought it off of the family and I'm gonna try to put it together. It's a little rough. Body wise, it's got some fiberglass in it. You can see in there, but it's not real easy finding anything from the 30s, and I really like these kind of cars, so take what you can get. Basically just going to unwrap it here. It's got a flathead V8 engine, which I think has been rebuilt, but we didn't have any records on it. What do you think? Does that look rebuilt? Maybe. And it's just a Model A frame that's been modified slightly. Not entirely sure if it's going to be modified good enough for my purposes, but it's got a dropped axle, some sort of weird suspension system going on up here.
It's a 40 Ford.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Ed says it's a 40 Ford. I think he might be right. He's the expert.
No, I'm no expert.
Okay, so we're just gonna unload it and yeah. Alright, we got it unloaded and basically slid the body off onto the frame here on the side, and we've got some issues. As you can probably tell, we're hitting up here, so the engine is too far back, so the wheels don't line up in the opening there at all. One of those minor issues that you wouldn't have noticed until you mount the body. So I'm not sure this guy ever had any idea what he was doing. See, the drive shaft there is shortened. So they shortened the drive shaft to make it fit, at least where the engine was. Cool thing. Ugly. Okay, so I've had this Model A sitting here in the garage for a couple weeks thinking about what to do with it. I actually tried listing this frame complete with the engine and everything for sale, but nobody really was interested, and I don't know, I kind of want to build it. I like building stuff, so, and I've always liked the vintage traditionally built hot rods of like the 40s and 50s, which is what this thing I think what the last guy was trying to do. But basically the way the frame is, I'm not happy with. I don't like how the construction, some of the welds and stuff are questionable. And I don't like the way this front suspension is. This is a part I bought, so don't need that yet. And I kind of like the high boy style, so what I'm gonna do is pull it apart real quick. I got some free time, some free energy, so I'm gonna sort of mock it up how I think it should be. Got an extra firewall for that little stainless trim. I really like that. And then I got the stock frame. So the plan is to move these axles and some of the suspension onto that other frame, bolt the frame to the body, get the wheels in the right spot, and then I'm going to get rid of this transmission This is just a 3-speed. I have a 5-speed. I'm going to get the adapter and bolt that in there, and then I'm going to get rid of this torque tube because it's the wrong length for what I need anyway, so I have to do something different. Yeah, and basically put it all together, and should be an afternoon's work at the most, maybe a year's worth. Let's see. Okay, so working pretty late last night. This is where I ended up. Got the body on the frame, axles just set in place. I think it'll be coming down a couple of inches, but it's looking about right. Dismantled this old crap. Basically what I got to do is put a cross member in here. Use a little aftermarket piece. That'll be welded in to a new cross member. Then I'll have some tie-ins back here in the frame. And the rear is a little more complicated. There'll be some control arms, and then you got those half springs right in here, which I'm gonna have to figure out how these are gonna tie into the frame somehow. And I want to get it lower in the back, and obviously there's no travel for the suspension. It's because it's almost touching here on the frame, so this would have to be raised or something, or maybe I'll move it back because you got to have something there to tie the shock absorbers into. And as I was bolting this frame on to the body, all of these cross supports in here are really fairly rusty and nothing's really straight, and I think I would like to get it sensibly lower, so I think I'll probably section it at some point, or not section it, channel it. So basically what you do is you cut out here, this is where it bolts onto, you put in new metal, and you basically just lower it down so the body's sitting down a little lower. I typically wouldn't probably go through all that effort, but because this stuff is kind of rusted out in here, it's not very strong or straight. Like, I got to do some alignment things because my door doesn't latch anymore, so the door's kind of crooked. But keep cracking at it. It's going good. Okay, and here, because I'm changing the transmission, I need to change the rear differential to a U-joint style. This is a little kit that I got from Speedway. A really nice kit, I think. It's got all the bolts and everything, which is helpful, and instructions. Basically, you just slide this on here, and you slide that on there, and you got a little set pin, goes into the keyway there, and it's pretty much done. So just got to put it together and move on. Okay, here it is installed. Takes about 5 minutes. Alright, so I'm back working on this Model A little bit. I was priorly working on these rotary sail things, but getting some resistance on that, so I need a brake. And what's funner than working on hot rods? So this filmed a little bit earlier. What I'm doing now, doing the T5 manual transmission swap. This is out of an S10, and then I'm cutting away some of the floor, and I'm actually going to lower the body. It's called channeling. You basically will drop the body down. You see how there's this gap here. I'm going to lower it all the way to the bottom here. So it's kind of a subtle detail, but it's worth the effort, being that I got to kind of redo the floors anyways. So yeah, we'll just show you where I'm at here. Also working on the 48. It's a friend of mine's. Yeah. Okay, so I told myself I was gonna do some filming on this thing as I was building it, but I haven't really been doing the filming, but I've been doing the building, so I'll show you what I've done and where it's at now. In the back, I pretty much did a 2-link suspension with some coil springs. It's a real simple setup. Up front in here, I got the transmission tunnel all built. I got a drive shaft made down there, and putting in some brake system like that. Right now, pretty much all the floor. I just got to get the seat figured out, see where I can sit in the thing. In the front, basically, I got the hood on there. Still got to do some modifications on that side panel, but radiator's mounted, and in here you can see where it was chopped away to make room for the engine. On this one, I channeled it, which I think I mentioned earlier. So I chopped it right here and then lowered the body down over the frame, so it sits about 2.5 inches lower, and then you know, the body's mounted where it needs to be mounted, and then the engine has to get mounted. And to mount the engine, you basically have to have the radiator mounted. To mount the radiator, you have to have the hood to line up with the body, so it all goes in a sequence so that it gets done and you have enough clearance on everything, because otherwise your radiator fan isn't going to fit or something like that. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Keep cranking away on it.